So, first of all, we have known for some length of time now that Warner Brothers has been interested in doing more with the Harry Potter franchise when David Zaslav and company took over. They were on the fence about what they were doing with Fantastic Beasts, which I don't blame them. They never had the financial returns that they were kind of hoping for. So fans are always kind of skeptical of what do you mean by more Harry Potter? Are we going like Cursed Child direction of what happens to our core three after the 7 books? No, they just feel like revisiting those 7 books again, as it's now being reported by Bloomberg of all people, which I had to do a double take when I saw that. Bloomberg is reporting that Warner Bros. Discovery is rebooting Harry Potter as a television series, not as a movie series, as a television series, with each season focusing on one of the books in the 7 series. I feel like for years, ever since the movies wrapped up, there's been a very vocal section in the Harry Potter community that's just going, this should have been better as a TV series, because especially when you get into later books, you miss so much stuff that would just work better as a TV series, and they've wanted a TV series that is specifically this for the longest time. And I was in that camp when I was younger, but as I get older, and especially as Josh and I have had this conversation many times, that does not work for a live action format. As much as I love 7 out of the 8 Harry Potter movies that they've come out with, I think those movies do an excellent job, whether diehard fans want to admit it or not. They do an excellent job of streamlining a lot of the narrative in the books. There are so many subplots. Some they should have kept, like Neville actually being a hero and actually stepping up. His whole arc, I think, gets undercut in the movies. But there's a lot of arcs that don't need to be in the books that are just filler. Hermione having this whole free the house elves thing, like, that doesn't really go anywhere or do anything to propel the plot. It's like, well, we need Hermione to do something in the book. I think people don't really realize there's a difference between how stories are told for movies and TV versus a book. I get that Harry Potter is comfort food for a lot of people, myself included. Those 8 movies, even though I don't like Deathly Hallows Part 1, they're comfort movies for me. I enjoy watching all of them, and I would love to spend more time in that world. That being said, I don't need every last remaining detail about the Wizarding World to be explained. I have more thoughts about this, but I'm sure Josh also has thoughts. So Josh, Warner Bros. Discovery is remaking Harry Potter.
So here's the thing. I think what's interesting is after I had seen the movies, I was definitely in a camp that was like, yeah, I would love to see this as a TV series. Let's explore it more, get more in depth. Maybe there's stuff in the books that, we're greatly missing or whatever. I have now read the books, and I'm going to say that no, we're good. I'm like that's unfortunately the plot line with Hermione and the house elves, it absolutely doesn't go anywhere, and it kind of it leaves that is the one. I think I remember reading the books and like texting you being like extremely mad, like, I don't understand what this does for Hermione's character. I don't understand what it does for the world itself. The whole like side plot, what is it in Chambers, a Chamber of Secrets with the dragon? There's like a whole side, like,
oh
cool.
Yeah,
It's like it's not like a small side plot. Like, it is legit like a huge chunk of the book that she just sidetracks. And okay, I know that there's a big thing going on right now, but we're going to focus on the dragon thing for right now. It is like, okay, fine. The only way I'm okay with this happening is if it's not just a like a reboot of the movies and they're doing, one per season, blah, blah, blah. I would love just to do this in the world. Like, don't necessarily follow the books, but like use the books as a launching pad. And did the people on the other side of the planet have to deal with Voldemort stuff? Was Voldemort only a a UK problem. Like what is the
I'd like to
scope
believe he was.
yeah,
He's
like
just British Got Talent. That's about it. Americans don't
yeah.
care.
Yeah, because to Grindelwald's credit, to Fantastic Beasts' credit, it definitely comes across at like Grindelwald was an absolute global threat, which whether it be because they were trying to answer the question of where were the wizards in all these wars kind of stuff questions, but I don't care necessarily. I am intrigued to see where they go, but I think if book fans are looking for this to be a complete accurate representation of what is in the books, I think we're in to be extremely disappointed, because I think it'll make for some very boring TV, not exciting, with characters that don't make sense. I hope that it is they are going from the books, but much like the movies, they improve upon it, hopefully.
The other thing is, like the MCU or Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter absolutely nailed its casting for each and every single character in the
Absolutely.
movie series. I can't pinpoint a single bad casting choice. Like, there's some characters that I don't love as much, but it's not the actors, it's that character to begin with is not great. Like, I know you're not the biggest fan of Snape, but Alan Rickman is the perfect
Yeah.
Snape. There's no
Yeah.
recasting that. I know some people are like, well, what about that very clever idea that I totally came up with and I didn't totally just steal from Tumblr fanfiction? What if Daniel Radcliffe is Snape this time? I'm going, stop it. Stop it. Like, everyone is so perfectly
I honestly
cast.
would hate that.
I hate it too.
And I think Daniel would as well, is the thing. Is he has enough respect for his own work that and I think I've seen him in many. I'm a big fan of him in
He's
general.
the best
as an
farting
actor.
corpse ever.
Gosh, I love him. But I think he has enough respect for himself and for the fandom to be like, no, like, because how much time has he spent trying to separate him from that whole franchise? Because people will always see him as Harry Potter, and that sucks for him. But he has worked very hard to get separated from that. I just don't see him wanting to be involved again. It just doesn't. I don't think that works on any kind of scale.
Like, the original casting is so perfect. You have to bat 1,000 again. Like, if you slip up on anybody, I get this. People got recast. Like, Richard Harris passed away after the first two movies, and they recast Dumbledore. I still prefer Richard Harris over Michael Gambon. I never liked Michael Gambon's Dumbledore, but it almost felt like a completely different Dumbledore when he took over. But in his defense, Dumbledore as a character evolves so much in the books. It's just like J.K. decided to write him differently after Richard Harris passed away. But then there's some recastings that it doesn't feel right to not have that actor. Like you said, Alan Rickman is no longer with us. It's gonna feel weird to recast him. Robbie Coltrane's no longer with us. It's gonna feel weird to see a Hagrid that's not Robbie Coltrane. It's just not gonna feel right. If there's one thing that I can see of, okay, maybe this is not a bad idea, it's if it's a TV show, you can film more at once and you don't run into the issue as much of kids growing out of the role, because
that's fair. Yeah.
After the second movie, the kids don't look their ages anymore. Like, they look 17 for like the third through the fifth movie, and then they straight up look like they're mid-20 somethings. Like, they're supposed to be 11 to 17, but they never actually look like it. So I don't know if that would help or be hurt by making a TV series that could be like a yearly release thing, but I don't know. This also seems like it could be a very expensive venture, like a Rings of Power thing, that I'm very curious to see the analytics for Rings of Power to see if it actually has paid off for Amazon as much as they would like to think it is, or if it's just, we spent $1 million on advertising for Rings of Power, so every time you get a package from us, you'll get a box that says Rings of Power, but like, did it actually drive up subscription bases, which at the end of the day is what this is all about. It's all about subscription models, and this, with the projections of where we're headed with streaming services, every platform needs the one flagship show, but you also run the risk of don't overspend for that flagship show because it's proving to not be very cost effective.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, so what happens when you do this show, do the first season for something like 100 million or something like that? That's super low, but still, say you do the whole season for like 100 mil, and after the third episode of your 10 episodes, people stop tuning in because it's not good. You just wasted a whole, like, millions of dollars, and now what? Are you just going to continue, or you do one season and back out, even though everyone knows that there's more seasons? It to me, it seems like it's nothing but trouble. Seems like it's nothing. It's just asking for a headache. I don't think it's good. It's a good move.